Decision making is required when we want to execute code only if certain condition is satisfied. The if-else statement is used for such decision making. Here the program evaluates the test expression and will execute statements only if the test expression is true. The body of if statement is indicated by the indentation. The body starts with indentation and the first unintended line marks the end. It's worth mentioning that Python interprets non-zero values as true. None and zero are interpreted as false. In the example, the variable is equal to 3. Test expression is true, and statements inside the body are executed. The print statement falls outside of the if block. Hence, it's executed regardless of the test expression. If-else statement evaluates test expression and will execute the body of if only when the test condition is true. If condition is false, the body of else is executed. Indentation is used to separate the blocks. On the screen you can see the program that checks if number is positive or negative and displays appropriate message. If, elif, else statement. Elif is short for else if. It allows us to check for multiple expressions. If condition for if is false, it checks the condition of the next elif block, and so on. If all conditions are false, the body of else is executed. Only one block among the several if, elif, else blocks is executed according to the condition. The if block can have only one else block, but it can have multiple elif blocks. In this program, we check if number is positive or negative or zero, and display appropriate message. For loop in Python is used to iterate over sequence or other iterable objects, for example list, tuple, or string. Iterating over sequence is called traversal. On the image, val is the variable that takes the value of the item inside the sequence on each iteration. A loop continues until we reach the last item in sequence. The body of for loop is separated from the other code using indentation. Now you can see the program to find the sum of all numbers stored in the list. We can generate sequence of numbers using range function. For example, range 10 will generate numbers from 0 to 9. We can also define start, stop, and step size parameters. Step size defaults to 1 if not provided. Range object is lazy in sense, because it doesn't generate every number that it contains when we create it. It doesn't store all the values in memory. It would be inefficient. So it remembers the start, stop, step size and generates the next number on the go. To force this function to output all the items, we can use the function list. The example on the slide will show different cases of usage. For loop can have optional else block. Else part is executed if items in the sequence are done. The break keyword can be used to stop for loop. In such cases, the else part is ignored. Hence, for loop else part runs if no break occurs. Code snippet on the screen prints items until the loop exhausts. After that, it executes else block of the code and prints no items left. While loop is used to iterate over block of code as long as the test expression is true. We generally use this loop when we don't know the number of times to iterate beforehand. In while loop, test expression is checked first. The body of the loop is entered only if this expression evaluates to true. After one iteration, the test expression is checked again. This process continues until the test expression evaluates to false. In the program from the screen, the test expression will be true as long as our counter variable y is less or equal to 10. It's worth mentioning that we need to increase the value of the counter in the body of the loop. This is very important because failing to do so will result in never-ending loop. Same as for loops, while loops can also have optional else block. The else part is executed if condition in the while loop evaluates to false. Here we use counter variable to print the string inside loop 3 times. On the fourth iteration, the condition in while becomes false. As a result, the else part is executed. Break and continue statements can alter the flow of the normal loop. Loops iterate over a block of code until the test expression is false. But sometimes we wish to terminate the current iteration or even the whole loop without checking test expression. Break and continue statements are used in these cases. Break statement terminates the loop containing it. Control of the program flows to the statement immediately after the body of the loop. In this program, we iterate through the string sequence. We check if letter is Y, upon which break from the loop. As a result, we see in our output that all letters till Y gets printed. After that, the loop terminates. Continue statement is used to skip the rest of the code inside loop for the current iteration only. Loop doesn't terminate but continues with the next iteration. The working of continue statement in for and while loops is shown on the slide. Program on the slide is same as the previous example, except break statement has been replaced with continue. We continue with the loop if string is Y, not executing the rest of the block. As a result, we see in our output that all letters except Y gets printed. In Python programming, pass statement is null statement. The difference between command and pass statement is that while the interpreter ignores command entirely, pass is not ignored. However, nothing happens when the pass is executed. It results in no operation. We generally use it as placeholder. Suppose we have a loop or function that's not implemented yet, but we want to implement it in the future. They cannot have empty body. The interpreter would give error. So we use the pass statement to construct a body that does nothing. We can do the same thing in empty function or class as well.